Each policy is a family. It's a whole family. It's not just a policy. It's someone's family, and they are saying, I'm trusting you in my most vulnerable of times. And we need to take that and run with it and be able to rise to the occasion when it comes. I think what I want people to know is that it's not morbid for us, especially the service in the industry. It's not morbid. We care about the people. There's a human element of it. Whereas death is a natural part of life. Like, there's nothing creepy about it. There's nothing weird about it. And we want to give our clients or everyone the best possible send-off that they can. I think it's understanding that it's okay to care about clients. It's good to care about clients, but also don't internalize their grief. You know, I think if you have lost a loved one, it's very easy to get absorbed into someone else's grief, because then it's flashbacks and you're reminded of when you lost your mom and whatnot have you, and it becomes too personal. And there's a danger there. People try to intertwine. When you tell people, hey, take a funeral policy, they'll say, oh no, but I already have a funeral policy with my bank. People don't understand, because we don't see death as a reality. It happens every day. Someone's dying right now, but we don't really see it as a reality. You only experience it once it happens. So I think it's important for people to know that umasingcwabisane is very important for when you don't have the money and something happens, like physically something happens right now and you need a hearse.
Like I've always said to people, and I'm sure you've heard me utter as well, a funeral is not something we can redo. Once you've done that service, it's done.
It's done.
You can't say to someone, oh no, come back, we'll do the service again.
Exactly.
It's not like a wedding.
What I've heard from other parlours, like people, when clients just speak about that we kill people so we can bury them. They do. They say that. Hey,
No.
They do. They say that. And I'm just like...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Between Meetings, the podcast. On today's episode, I have Ayanda Ngubane, who is the Administration Manager of 21st Century Funeral Services. For the purpose of this episode, I thought it was really important just to give people a bit more context of what we do and who we are. Ayanda does exactly that. She handles right from when the clients come on board and right till the end of the experience of 21st century funerals. So we're going to be unpacking what exactly does it mean to manage administration of a financial service provider, and what goes behind when it comes to an end and arranging the burial services for the clients. So stay tuned and enjoy this episode, and we look forward to having on more episodes. Thank you. So, Ayanda, how are you today?
I'm great, Aphiwe. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. As I've briefly mentioned, today's episode, we're going to be unpacking who is Ayanda, where she started, where she is currently, and exactly what does Ayanda do right now for 21st Century Funeral Services. So maybe give us a background on who is Ayanda.
I don't know how to answer that. Okay, so career-wise?
So start from who you are in terms of a mother, a daughter, a leader, a servant, and then give us a bit more background on your experience and your journey in your career.
Okay, cool. So I am a mother, first and foremost, and a servant in everything I do, in my home life, in my work life, and in my social life. I think who I am as a person that believes in serving people and doing good, ties up really with my leadership journey, with how I started and how I ended up in insurance, because I started in banking. I've got extensive experience in banking, and it all just came from my love for people and seeing people's lives changed. That ties up to what I do now at 21st Century as an administration manager, where it's not really an industry people like to talk about in terms of the human aspects of it. It's not an industry where people are very morbid about death. People think, oh, you work for a funeral parlour and oh my gosh, dead bodies, sorry. But it's not just that. For me, I look at it as we are helping you say bye to your loved one. And we are making sure that you're not stressed, financially stressed, so your grief is not compounded with financial stress or what am I going to do? That's why we're here. For me, it's about the humanity of it, of making sure that you give your parents or your child or your loved one a good send-off, a good last hurrah, if I may say, or just to see them the way that you saw them from the beginning of that relationship that you had with them. And that's very important. We are shaping people at their most vulnerable times. So that's...
You mentioned something about how you are there for people to serve them, and you like when you see the difference you make in their lives. What are some of the moments for you that have been pivotal when you've seen the impact of you being a servant leader and what it's done for a particular individual? If you can give us some scenarios or maybe a bit more details when you mean by that.
So I can give you a scenario with particularly a client. So we're here to serve our clients, I like to say our internal clients, which is our staff, the people that we lead, and our external clients, which is the people that we serve. Both instances we are still serving. So my example would be when I get feedback from families and they're in tears, they're like, we lost, like let's say the policyholder, like this instance, the policyholder is the one that's deceased and the beneficiary is a child, and they don't know what to do. They just lost their mom, they just lost their dad. And they come into our offices, they don't know the benefits they have. They basically don't know anything. And then we came in and we took her hand and we held her hand from the inception of making sure the body is fetched on time. And it's not just the body, their mom is fetched on time, and making sure they're taken care of up until the end, and they get the send-off that they took a policy for, So for me, that's rewarding when they come back and say, thank you, Cece. You really helped me in a time of need, and I was not alone because you were there for me. And that's the most rewarding aspects of when people see the importance of it and they see how they were helped and they were served. And it really gave them the opportunity to say bye, to say, bye, Mom, I loved you, and just to focus on the service and not run around because 21st has their back. For me, that's the most beautiful part, yeah.
I love that. That's reassuring for me as well, as a leader of 21st Century Funerals, to hear that we take pride in what we do, that the slogan, never stand alone, you guys are embodying it. You and your team, as a manager of the business, you're really taking that never stand alone and ensuring that clients see that and understand that we're not just saying that for the sake of having a fun slogan, but we mean it. It's something we carry, and we ensure that our entire team carries it. So with now being a person in leadership, when you lead, what is important for you to lead as a leader, and having a team behind you that supports you? What does it mean to you?
I think for me, as a leader, it means empowering my team to be able to do what I do. I think when I first started in my leadership journey, it was always like, what can I do? How can I get this? How can I get everything sorted? And as I grew, I realized it's about how can I make the next person be able to do what I do? How do I empower them to grow? Because for me, leadership is being able to groom other leaders. And if you're not grooming other leaders, you're just building a bunch of followers. And you're not growing as a person because you just have a bunch of followers. And so that's very important to me. And for my team, especially in this industry, because it's very sensitive, it's important for me to also know that it's not transactional. There's people always think there's a bad reputation when it comes to funeral parlors, you know this. And so people think it's transactional, it's koki mali, and all of that. And it's not just that for us. And I want my team to embody that. And I think they do. Each policy is a family. It's a whole family. It's not just a policy. It's someone's family, and they are saying, I'm trusting you in my most vulnerable of times. And we need to take that and run with it and be able to rise to the occasion when it comes. And so it's very important for us and my team to be empathetic and to be able to carry the situation, though, but without absorbing the emotional, baggage that comes with it as well. We can be empathetic, but still be able to make sure that procedures and standards are followed so that the clients are protected and we are also protected as a business.
Hey guys, it's Aphiwe here. Just to quickly bring a bit more information on our sponsors, 21st Century Funeral Services. Did you know that 21st Century Funeral policies all include catering? And then on top of that, they offer free repatriation throughout South Africa and SADC regions. What is repatriation, you're wondering? It is when you want to move your loved ones from one place to another. So for example, Johannesburg to Cape Town. We can offer you that service free of charge. To get a free quote, send us a WhatsApp message on 065 995 4606. There are two key things that you've said, which I want us to unpack a bit more,
Okay.
which I think are important to also share with our listeners and viewers. You mentioned how leading as a leader, and there's certain, ideas around funeral parlors, and as some people must say, almost not son. What would you want people to understand a bit more about the funeral industry, in particular, the service and what we do as a financial service provider, and then the service part of funeral services?
I think what I want people to know is that it's not morbid for us, especially the service in the industry. It's not morbid. We care about the people. There's a human element of it, whereas death is a natural part of life. Like, there's nothing creepy about it. There's nothing weird about it. And we want to give our clients or everyone the best possible send-off that they can. It is like we are custodians of making sure that someone's lost wishes are carried and that the family can grieve in peace. And I think there's a beauty in that, because people then are allowed to, like, I hear terms of people saying, oh my gosh, and I think it's okay, because it's a farewell. If you want to give the person their last hurrah and it be like a wedding, it's okay, because it's a celebration of life. It shouldn't be morbid. It shouldn't be sad. And, you want the decor to be nice. Those things matter, because in that moment, the family can say, this is exactly like how my dad wanted it. This is exactly like how my mom wanted it. So there's a lot of human elements when it comes to what we're doing. It's not just insurance where you're paying and then we pay you a cash. We're actually planning the burial. We are with you. I think what's beautiful also is that we're Black owned, and I'm not just saying this just, because we're Black owned, but it means that we're in touch with our clients. We know what it's like. Siyakwazi ukushonelwa, and siyazi ukuthi ngokwesintu the things that need to be observed. So our policies and our products account for that and make sure that families are taken care of even after the burial.
I like that. Then the second part, which again I think is very important to touch on and very critical. You mentioned that you and the team, it's very important to set boundaries in terms of not having to carry too much of the emotional baggage, but still being able to be empathetic with the families. What type of boundaries would you say you've set up for yourself that you hope translates as well to your team?
I think it's understanding that it's okay to care about clients. It's good to care about clients, but also don't internalize their grief, I think if you have lost a loved one, it's very easy to get absorbed into someone else's grief, because then it's flashbacks and you're reminded of when you lost your mom and whatnot have you, and it becomes too personal. And there's a danger there. It's important to care for the clients, yes, but there's a danger there, because then you lose the structure, you lose the processes, and and then you're not working at the best interest of the clients. You're now the clients, and that's not okay. So what I always want to translate to my teams is that it's okay to care about clients. We should care about clients. They are why we're here. They are, so we are, but also don't internalize their grief. Care about them, empathize. But that's why they trusted you, because they knew they won't be making good decisions, because their minds are going to be filled with grief. Have the responsibility of saying, okay, I'm not going to make an emotional decision, because this is not, my death, but I care about Aphiwe, Ushonelo, Babake, or whoever. And so I must be able to say, okay, Aphiwe, this is the next steps. It's very hard in the beginning, especially, yes, I have experience in insurance, but it was usually just like cash payouts. So people didn't come to choose the caskets and all of that. And so when it starts, it's very easy to be absorbed in a person's grief. It's very easy, especially if you're empathetic and you care about people. But then you start not being able to follow processes. That's how people make mistakes, and they start making emotional decisions, which is not good. It's not good for the clients, it's not good for the business. So it's important to care about the clients, have the emotional connection, but don't absorb. Don't absorb the grief, don't absorb the family issues. You're still there because you're trusted to make the right decisions. The clients trusted you.
So then, with that being said, how do you manage witnessing grief regularly? Because what we do is very sensitive, as you've previously said. It's a very emotional thing, and we can get easily carried away as well with our own emotions, like how you mentioned having flashbacks, remembering when you lost a loved one. How do you now deal with that emotional baggage? How do you, at the end of the day, carry and cope with the daily consistent grieving? Because it's something that we face and deal with every day. So
I think for me, it's just important to have my quiet time. My quiet time where I pour into myself, where it could be being with my children, just, absorbing love and life around me, but just pouring into myself. It could be quiet time, meditating, reading a book, praying. I just need to be one with myself, fill my cup so I can pour onto others, because in this industry, there's a lot of pouring. You're pouring every day to clients, you're pouring to your team, and you need to have time to yourself to sort of unpack what happened and remove and leave the job at home. I mean, at the office, and be at home and be one with self. And who was Ayanda outside of, being in operations, being in administrations and with the clients, and just be at home and, unpack everything and then pour into yourself, read books, go pick flowers, go on hikes, and just separate from that. It's very important. Otherwise, you can't pour from an empty vessel. You cannot.
100%. I agree with that. And I think that's very critical to understand that being selfish with yourself and your time is very important, because it helps you as well to perform as best as you can, not just as an employee, but as a leader of a business. So I really like what you've mentioned there. Can you maybe perhaps give people a bit more insight in terms of what exactly you do at 21st Century Funerals?
Okay, so basically what I do is I run the administration department as well as the operations aspects of it, being the people that actually conduct the burials, and also the compliance. So compliance being the people that actually go out in the streets and sell to clients. We want to make sure that what we share and say, hey, we have the family protector. You can cover up to 10 people. And this is what you're getting from this policy. When they come in to an administrator in any of our branches and they say someone has died, the conversation is still the same. So my job is to making sure that we're all aligned. The terms and conditions were given to the clients, and when they come in to head office to do their claim, they're still getting everything that they signed up for. It's very painful when you hear stories of people saying, I was promised this and I'm not getting this. And you know what I mean? It's about integrity as well. So it's just making sure that everyone is aligned, and then making sure that when they get their send-off, everything goes without a hitch, making sure that they're fetched on time, making sure that the flowers are there, everything, the caskets, everything that was promised to the clients. And even after that, after services, to just check with the clients on were they happy with the service, they receive everything that they wanted. So basically that's basically what we do, is just making sure that we get the clients, they know what they signed up for, and then they get what they signed up for at the end.
At the end, I like that. So now I want to move away a bit more from the leadership aspect, and in terms of the business and the onboarding part, like how you mentioned the compliance aspect and the terms and condition, and touch on a bit more on your values as a leader, because I think to lead, it's important that your values align with the business and with you personally as well. I think working for a business where your values aren't met as well as an individual can make it difficult for you to perform at best. So I want to get your understanding in terms of what are important values for you that regardless of where you go, you will not compromise on who Ayanda is.
I think the biggest one for me, and I always say this, is integrity. It's doing something even when no one's watching, doing it not because you want the boss to say, oh, well done, Ayanda, doing it because it's the right thing to do. That's my biggest one, and that's where I lead from a place of servanthood, making sure that I deliver what I promised, I do what I say that I'm going to do, and I want that to be embodied with my team. And having integrity also means you're also accountable. Like, you are teachable, you are accountable, if my boss says, you didn't do this, I can say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It was an oversight or what not have you. I'm not coming with trying to justify it, because then the lesson is then lost in that instance. So for me, just integrity sums everything. It sums out accountability. It sums out doing the right thing, making sure that I'm teachable, because I don't know anything. Someone from my team can teach me something, and it's okay. That's how we grow.
I like that. So have you ever been in a position where you felt that your values were being tested, where you had to now re-look and rethink of what your values are and what you stand for? And how did you overcome a situation like that?
I mean, I think working with people, grieving people, your values are tested on a daily basis, because you're dealing with people that are sad, they're unhappy, they're heartbroken. Others are using it as a get rich quick scheme. So people will then try to circumvent the rules that we have on a daily basis. People always try to push the limits. And for me, it's always just standing my ground and saying, but this is wrong, we can't. Where I find sometimes that it's tempting is when human urgency meets structural limitations. For example, someone will say, they'll come in on a Friday and they want to bury on a Saturday. We have limitations there because there's certain things that take a couple of days. Our claims process takes 2 working days. So to give enough time to the team to be able to make sure that the burial is conducted well, but then the urgency of the clients. And so now you find yourself in a situation where you could compromise the client's service. So you're not doing right by them. They are urgent. They want to do it now, maybe for whatever cultural reasons or whatever family reasons or obligations that they're pushed through. And they put you now under pressure to say, okay, let's try and do it. But then you're compromising the service that they're getting, So I struggle with that most of the time. What helps me, though, is also staying grounded in what we can do. Like, I don't want to overpromise on a client saying that we can do something when we can't. Because what happens is then the hearse will be late or whatever reason, and then our service is compromised, and it's our fault because we agreed. And you can say to the clients, oh no, but something could go wrong. They'll be like, no, it's not okay, because it's our name, it's our brand, and also that client is a client. They've been with us for a long time. They deserve a good send-off. So it's just always things like that will be a bit of a challenge when it comes to your values, because you're also put in pressure because the client is urgent and the client wants it now. But it's also important for me was learning that the processes and structure are there for a reason, to protect the client,
So would you say then, since coming to a managerial role or becoming a leader, that the core aspect of values you've had to work on is a bit more of the empathetic side, the human element of it? And to strengthen that, what measurements or measures did you take without losing the humanity?
I think for me, it's actually the opposite of that. Okay. When I started, it was too human. Okay. If there's such a thing as too human. But it was just like, when you're promoted from a junior position to a leadership, to that transitioning phase, you're still part of the team. Their struggles. So you haven't looked at things from a management level, from a strategic level, from a growth aspect level. So it's hard. It's hard to learn how to discipline someone, hold someone accountable, because you feel sorry for them. You know what I mean? So for me, it was learning how to actually be more of a leader than be more of a follower. Because that's how everyone starts when you're still trying. You want to people please. You want everyone to like you. You want to be happy. And I mean, I'm not saying that your team should hate you. It shouldn't be like that. There should be a balance, though, because you should be able to hold someone accountable and not feel bad about it, because it's work, and you're doing it for them. You want them to grow. If you can't hold someone accountable, there's a problem, because then you're hindering their growth. For me, it's learning to know that by not holding someone accountable, I'm crippling them, So I should be able to hold someone accountable and not feel bad about it, because they'll do it again and they'll never grow, and they need to grow. I need to create more leaders out of me.
So let's now go a bit more. Let's broaden the conversation and take it out of the 21st century realm and look at it from a broader perspective. when it comes to funerals and insurance. What are some of the things that you've learned about the industry or picked up about the industry that you feel can improve client experience, can improve for people who don't know anything about funeral insurance, or who have that idea that I don't need a funeral policy, my grandmother's covered me or someone's covered me? What would you say to them right now, and why, like from a broad perspective, not just looking at 21st?
I mean, I'll make an example with myself. I was once in a position where I lost a loved one and they didn't have funeral insurance. Someone had Capitec, someone had other funerals, not parlours, insurers that gave out cash. But no one had umasingcwabisane. And when someone at home, they died at home. So when someone dies at home, what do? You're not going to call Capitec. You're not going to call Old Mutual. You need a hearse. You need a hearse. Like that's the biggest moment, and like that shaped me in terms of the funeral space. That's how important umasingcwabisane is, funeral insurance is, funeral policies. Because if someone dies at 12 midnight, you need to be able to call a number for someone to come in. During the day, sure, you can ask your neighbors. They'll say, "Oh, fonela u 21st, fonela u so and so." But at night, what are you gonna do? I think that's when the reality sinks in that, oh my gosh, umasingcwabisane is very important. It's very important to have, because in the nick of time, where you're most vulnerable, that's where it comes in and kicks in. It's not the same. People try to intertwine. When you tell people, hey, take a funeral policy, they'll say, oh no, but I already have a funeral policy with my bank. People don't understand, because we don't see death as a reality. It happens every day. Someone's dying right now, but we don't really see it as a reality. You only experience it once it happens. So I think it's important for people to know that umasingcwabisane is very important for when you don't have the money and something happens, like physically something happens right now and you need a hearse. Something as simple as just a hearse. You need a casket. You need all of those things. The bank's wound will be closed. What's going to happen to you?
I like that. And I think most people don't understand that the banks, like you said, they pay the cash component, but now you need to do the service with that. And it's not often you can just walk into a store and buy a casket on its own. So I think the stigma around funerals and funeral insurance is up to us to change that narrative and that conversation. Exactly. I think it's important for people to, like how you've also touched base on it, like know that a funeral parlour is there any time of the day. It's not at a certain time operating business hours. Yes, the administration part and the claim component has operating hours, but the funeral component is 24/7. So now, in your years of growing and evolving and ending up in the funeral insurance, what are some of the stigmas you've experienced or heard people murmuring in between corridors, and that you wish like you could say out loud and be like, no, that's not true, that doesn't work like that, this is how it works?
Well, people think, for example, in the branches we have fridges. We have.
Oh, that's...
I'm so sorry. I have clients come in and we have a showroom. And they're like, people are very freaked out by the cast because they think we have legit deceased people.
Generally think we keep the deceased with us.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I did not know that.
They will come in to say, so some like, where are we going to just the office?
By the way, we do not keep.
We do not. We have
the branches. We have showrooms, like how you've mentioned. Yes.
Departments of Health would never allow that.
No, please, no. We'd also be breaking so many rules and compliance. That's what those type of things, like stigmas around like and myths, like what else have you heard besides the showroom, which I also been like, yeah.
People think that. I've heard from other parlours, like people when clients just speak about that we kill people so we can bury them. They do. They say that. Hey, no. They do. They say that. And I'm just like...
No. I think we set the record straight now. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
That means in Old Mutual, everyone who does funeral insurance does the same thing. That's not how it works. We don't want
you to die. Yeah. We want you to live.
We want you to be healthy. Yes. We want you to stay, alive as long as possible.
Yes.
We are there to help you at the end, but the goal is not to see you pass away or no longer be around. Okay, that's interesting.
It's very interesting and so not true, everyone.
No, not true.
Whoever's listening, it's not true.
We're here to break the myths.
We want you to live. That's why we have benefits and we have rewards programs so that you can be healthy and you can be safe and live a long, healthy life.
100%. Yes. And just one more, and then we'll move on from the myth. I'm so, even myself, I'm intrigued because I think the one interesting one I've come across and a myth that I've heard where I was like, someone once said to me, how do we know if they did? And I said that sometimes we do hear once they've passed away a little sigh in the mortuary, but there is a doctor that comes in and people who we do the right channels. We don't just take someone from home and put them in the mortuary and just hope they come alive and we just okay, knock them out again. No.
Yep, I've heard of that one.
That's not how it works. I just want to set that record straight. That
it's not.
There are professionals and people involved. We will not keep someone. If they wake up, okay, that's creepy. I hope we never experience something like that. But that's not how it works in that space. Yes. There are compliance rules around it. There are professionals. There are medical procedures we need to follow when we do take someone from home. And I think same as well as hospitals or wherever we have to pick up the deceased. So I just want to make sure that we don't do anything. We don't bury people alive. No.
And bodies do make sounds.
They do.
Even when deceased. It does not mean that person is now alive because you're hearing like a sigh or whatever it is. It's still it takes a long time for the body to actually see that it's dead.
Correct. The organs shut down at the end as well. Sometimes when someone's a bit bigger as well, it may also take as longer because the blood has to, cool off. The heart needs to also, everything is to start accepting as well that we are no longer required to keep this person going. I know it sounds horrible to talk about this, but I think it's an important conversation.
It's important that people know.
Yeah. So they understand.
We're not killing them. They're gone. The person's gone. But it's just the body's way of also saying
it's a scary
goodbye.
Industry we're in. And I think a lot of people, it's a taboo.
It is.
And I think it's important for people to understand what happens in that space. I know a lot of people are curious and they'll probably have more questions to ask, but right now we just want to touch base to give them an understanding of who and what we do and what the funeral space looks like. For you, what is the best thing or the evolving of the funeral space that you've seen and you support and how it's moving?
In terms of services provided?
So in terms of the holistic overview of funeral service and funeral insurance, for example, for me, I'm glad that the FSCA increased the funeral covers from 30K to 100K now because they understand that there's so much more that goes into burial services. It's not just about giving someone cash or just a casket, like how you mentioned. There are things they need to do after the service. There are things they need during the service, catering, groceries. So now they have more leeway. Instead of being capped at 30,000 Rand, a person now can cover themselves up to 100,000 Rand, which is a great movement from the regulator to do something like that. And then from a service provider side, I really love how most of us are now taking that pride in putting more, understand that we're celebrating someone, like how you touched on it. Like I've always said to people, and I'm sure you've heard me utter as well, a funeral is not something we can redo. Once you've done that service, it's done. It's done. You can't say to someone, oh no, come back, we'll do the service again.
Exactly.
It's not like a wedding. A wedding you can redo as many times as you want. Yes. If you decide to leave the person, marry someone else, there's an opportunity to do another wedding. If you want to renew your vows, an opportunity to do a wedding. But a funeral service is not the same.
You can't.
So I really like how the space is moving, that everyone is taking pride in understanding the importance of giving our clients the best and not just picking certain clients to give, but giving everyone the best. Yes. So that's what I want to know from you as well. It's like, what are some of the progressions you've seen in the space that you can say, we're heading in the right direction as service providers in the insurance industry?
So for me, I think my favorite one is the catering. The catering is so important because we grew up in a time where make sure or if someone's passed on, like the moms and us and our sisters, we're staying all night cooking, preparing. We don't get to see the service because now you're cooking in the morning. You have to dish up, so you don't get time to grieve. And I think that creates a lot of mental issues that we now see from other people. And now we give them, like, funeral insurance has changed to a point where we provide catering as a service. You know, people can take catering policies. And that means everyone is just attending. They literally don't have to do anything. Like, the insurer or the funeral parlour will take care of everything. They'll cook, they'll dish out, they'll clean up after, which is a beautiful thing. Like me, Nanje, I hated those. I hated that. So that one's my favorite. And I think also the fact that we have cows and we have goats now, because it aligns to the fact that it's not just like a funeral. It's understanding the cultural aspects of it. That families have, some use goats, some use sheep, some need cows, and all of that. So we provide that. And so I think it's nice to see the evolution from how it was back in the day in the early 90s to how it is now. Those are one of my favorite things. Yeah,
that's very interesting. You mentioned, I just want to touch on this because I think it's important to have these type of conversation. Both of us being Black women, and we've both experienced death. We know what it's like. The part where you touched on the catering, where we now offer products like that. How do you feel about when you lose someone and everyone's going through it, but then people come in and you're still expected to show up for guests during the most difficult time where you've experienced? Do you have to still keep my cake and ear or mama beso? How do you feel about that, and what do you think we can do as a Black community to kind of change it without losing who we are culturally, but also, like, I know they do it as a way of supporting, but personally for me, I feel it becomes more of a burden because, like you said, you don't get a chance to grieve. So how do you feel about that, and how can we change that?
I think it's such a catch-22 with that one, because personally, I feel like people have now have huge expectations from grieving families. They have an entitlement, sort of. They expect that they're going to eat. People criticize funeral food. I went there. People are and that's what I don't like. It's the entitlement of it. Because I don't think it's wrong to offer that, because I think it's in the heart of who we are as a people. I mean, we've lost so many things in our culture over the years as cultures evolve and as generations come in and go, that aspect of you welcome people in your home. I feel like maybe now we're doing too much because of that expectation and entitlement. But generally, you offer them a man's. That's who we are. You offer your neighbor that. But now the problem is that the entitlement has gotten to a point where now people have to cook every day for 7 days up until the funeral. And that's not fair. That's not fair, because now they're now overworked to try and accommodate you when you're supposed to be the one that's coming in to support. Like back in the day, I like what white people do. They bring in, they'll bring in a tray of food. They'll bring in, wings. They'll bring in whatever it is, because that's how they support each other, by bringing in food. If maybe we started implementing that's okay, yes, they'll accommodate you, but now parts are we do it, we bring in like rice and cakes and stuff, and that helps a lot. But like if we started bringing food, so that they can dish up to the others, and we're saying, I don't want you to worry, so you can share with your gifts. I think that's beautiful.
I really agree with that. With what you've just said, I think if people actually extend a helping hand as well to the grieving family, because at most cases, like you made an example, you're talking earlier with someone losing their mother. Now this young child, whether it's a son or daughter, needs to show up now every day for till the day of the burial, making sure now they have money for cool drinks, they have money for biscuits. And what you've said, like, what, it would be nice if the guests who come in, if they actually showed up as well, because we all know how financially taxing the burials can be as well. And if we lend it a helping hand, it will go much longer. Touching on that financial strain of the funerals and what funerals have become, what do you think we can do differently to, and now I'm talking again in the broad aspect of the funeral space we're in, what can we do differently to kind of help people navigate that, especially the young ones who become adults in the household, when they've lost someone and they've done the burial, how now do we help people get back up on their feet after going through something like that?
I think offering counseling services will help them process the grief. And also, I don't want to sound like I'm selling. I'm just like, how far can I go with this? But like, you know, our breadwinner plan, I think it's such a beautiful plan because people can, you get money for 3 months that can help you keep afloat. I just think of if I were to die and my kids, life covers take time to pay out. Provident funds take time to pay out. In that interim where I would have been buying bread, something as simple as buying bread, buying milk, what are they going to do? So it's important to have like after service financial help where the family can just keep afloat. Because I mean, obviously it's not something that will help you survive for the rest of your life, but it'll keep you afloat for a month or two while you wait for other payouts and get a permanent solution on how you're going to survive now in your new reality as a family.
No, I agree with that. And you as Ayanda, have you had the talk with your daughters? And if not, when would you think is the best time to have the talk? The should mom no longer be around and I pass away, what do you expect, like advising your kids? Because I think so many times we can talk to our children, okay, one day when I have children, but we can talk to young people about, you know, growing up, what do you want to be when you grow up? How do you know, what you want to accomplish when you grow up? But we don't talk to them like, okay, should I no longer be in the picture? What measurements or what steps should you take? And I think those are very important conversations to have as well with the people that you raise. So have you had that talk with your daughters? And would that be something that you would navigate with them?
I think I haven't had that talk in terms of the financial aspects of it. Like, oh, it's okay, you can go claim here and all of that. But like in terms of life lessons, when I die, I don't want this to happen to you, or you should do this, you're going to stay with who, and we talk about that. But I will say, because my eldest is 10, so she's the older one, the youngest one is 2, so I can't really say anything to her. She hates those conversations. She will literally start crying. She's like, I don't want to think of you gone. And so it's sad. Like for me, I think in a way, because I lost my mom at a very young age, so people dying is not like a shock to me. It's just like I had to understand that is the natural part of life at a very young age. And so it's always a surprise when I see like how people are like so scared to talk about death. And so even my child, because she has the privilege of having me, she hasn't lost anyone that's close to her heart. And I think that's beautiful. So that thought is very scary for her. And so it's just navigating and being able to talk about it, because it is important, Aphiwe. It is very important that children know at a young age that what does that mean, what happens, and all of that, so that they are better prepared. But it's just also hard to navigate because it's a scary topic for most people.
Yeah.
It's a very scary topic for most people. I don't know why, because we're all going to die.
And, you know, a wise man once said to me that 2 things that are guaranteed in life are taxes and death.
Yep.
You can never escape those 2 things.
Cannot.
Okay, and I think we've gotten a lot of insight on not just from you as a leader, but in terms of the industry as well, and the myths behind everything of what we do. And as well as touch on the importance of being human in the funeral space. I think that's a very key component, and it's something we need to always carry with us and never lose that human element. But now I want to kind of like sum up everything. You know, we've looked at where you've come from, where you are now, but now let's try to get a picture of where you want to go. 5 years' time, how do you see Ayanda evolving?
I see Ayanda evolving a lot in, wow, I'm speaking in third person. Sorry. I see myself growing career-wise. I like growing climbing the corporate ladder, because I think the more you grow, the more you get more reach to help more people. I see myself having a whole lot of leaders behind me that I've groomed. I enjoy that. I enjoy watching someone grow from, just being junior and growing and grasping, and then now they're just a leader like you, maybe even more, so developing people. I see myself developing more of my team. I see myself hitting more of my personal goals that I have. Obviously, I'm not going to share them here, but...
Or maybe give us an insight of 1 or 2 personal goals. Like, for example, my one personal goal is definitely to try to pursue my master's, something like that. Doesn't have to be, if you feel like it, but don't have to go into great detail, but just for people to get an understanding of where you are. You don't know who you're going to motivate just by sharing those 2 personal goals of yours.
So I definitely want to get my master's done. I think education is the way. And I think with the way the world is evolving, it's very important to always be in the role of getting to know what's happening in the education sphere. I'm definitely wanting to master my networking aspects as a person. Your net worth is your network. So it's very important. Yeah. It's just, I see myself way ahead of where I am now in terms of my personal life, in terms of my educational aspects of my life, and in terms of my career. I want to definitely grow, hit that executive, C-level, C-suite. Yes, definitely.
And would you say, if you look at yourself now, because sometimes I think we get so lost in looking to in the future that we don't actually sometimes realize that we're currently living the prayers. You know how people say the prayers that you prayed, you're currently living them now. Have you, when you look back now, would you say, what are you the most proud of that you've achieved?
Oh, I'm definitely proud of myself for one. I went and I got myself a 2nd degree. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of, I'm living my childhood dreams, I remember growing up, I used to tell my gran I just wanted to be an independent woman, living in my own house with my kids. My guy was like, how are you going to have kids if you're not married, girl? And so it was just, I have that now. And I truly believe that what you speak about yourself and what you say is going to happen does happen, because I see it now. And I'm really grateful to God for that. So I'm definitely living an answered prayer. I definitely feel like I am a testimony, because everything that I've ever wanted in different stages of my life, I have. I don't have everything, of course, that I still want to achieve, that I still want to have in my life. But I'm definitely in my grateful. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for the life that I have.
That's good. And I think gratitude is a very important aspect as well to carry as someone who's evolving as a leader and as a person. When we forget to appreciate those moments, and I'm glad you could share those moments with us today and just give us a bit more insight of, what are you grateful for? What fills your cup, and what are you appreciative that you've achieved? And then finally, what was that one moment where you look back and like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm meant to be doing. I'm where I need to be.
When my first team, the first team that I ever had to lead, I think like 4 of them are managers now. And they reached out to me on LinkedIn. They're like, hi, Ayanda. And it was very fulfilling for me watching them, that they're now branch managers in their own right. And they're having successful teams. And I wouldn't say it was it's all due to me. No, definitely not. It was their work and their efforts. And I saw that. And they didn't believe in themselves then, but I poured into them, and they're flourishing and they're doing better than I ever did in that position. And I love that. We plant ourselves in people, and when they grow, it's just beautiful to see. They grow brighter, stronger than you ever were. And for me, that is very fulfilling,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So usually I like asking and ending off asking my guests, things that if someone who's listening, someone who's watching, what would you want them to take away, or words that can take away from you to, either instill, motivate, inspire, that also help inspire you in a way? What do you wish someone had told you, for someone who's listening or watching right now?
Just take a leap of faith. Do it. Do it scared. Do it tired. Do it doubting yourself. Do it with no one telling you to do it. do it with no one believing in you. Just do it. You can do it. So it could be applying for that job in your career where you see a promotion and you want to do it. You don't believe in yourself. Maybe no one's come and said, hey, Aphiwe, you can run 21st. You got this. Do it. Because you just don't know what the future holds. And I think the beautiful thing about life is that you can never lose from trying. You know, you try and you try, you fall and you get up and you try. You keep trying. That's the one takeaway that I always have in my life and that I always want to share with people. Keep trying. Do it. Apply. If you don't get it, you'll get the next one. Keep going.
Amazing. I love that. I think myself as well can definitely take a page out of that. Keep going. Keep trying. You cannot lose from trying. So that's a very powerful way and a powerful closing to today's episode. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we'll definitely keep trying. We'll definitely keep pushing.
Yes.
And we hope you also go out there, keep trying, keep pushing.
I will.
And hopefully one day can come back again with more stories and myths to share with us. So thank you so much for your time. I know everyone, you're a busy woman, and from hearing today all that you do, we know the importance right now, and families need you more than ever. So thank you for sharing those nuggets with us and, you know, giving us a bit more insight on who you are and what you do. And I hope our listeners have learned a lot from today's episode. So thank you so much, Ayanda.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.